Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome to another podcast from the Gunners Town lads. With me this evening in alphabetical order, it's Mike. How you doing, Mike?
Yeah, very well. Super excited about the weekend. We're just talking off air with Woz about it. Doesn't seem it's like even real, you know.
Well, I mean, you've spoke the surprise on who's joining us, but obviously everyone can see his manly good looks staring back at us.
I wouldn't go that far.
I am joking, Woz. How you doing, mate?
Yeah, I'm very, very good and exactly the same as Mike. I mean, it's a bit weird. The whole world's going mad apart from the Premier League's back on Saturday. So we've got something to get our teeth into, haven't we?
Yeah, no, I'm the same. I mean, obviously, normally at this time of year, everybody's finalising plans on what boozy are meeting before the game, who's got tickets, who's not got tickets, and I'm presuming for Mike as well over there, you'll be linking up with pals in pubs and etc. etc. So it's probably the same worldwide. Everybody's plans have really been put on hold, but at least we've got some. It's not the same, but we've got football back, and we want to get some normality back in life. And this is probably the best way of getting some sort of normality, so we can laugh, scream, and cry together again. What we're going to do this evening is to start it off. We're going to go through the lads who take part and who will be taking part in the podcast over the next season. Their sort of predictions on where we're going to finish up, really. So I mean, we'll start with AFC Charlie, who sent the message earlier. League, he thinks we're going to finish fourth after a tight run-in. Well, it's always a tight run-in with us, isn't it? FA Cup, of course we're going to win it. The trophy's actually ours. Again, but
it's ain't wrong.
Okay, so that one is it. And Europa, he reckons we're going to beat Tottenham in the semis and then go on to win it. And in the Carabao Cup, go out to Man City in the quarterfinals. So it's a fairly comprehensive prediction.
Mate, I tell you what, if he has a quid on that, he's going to be a very rich man come the end of the season if that all happens.
Well, I mean, not most of these. I mean, we're all positive lads, but I mean, I'll take that. I'm sure you both would as well. Do you know what I mean? Right, Paul, who was going to join us this evening, but has been delayed at the 19th hole on the golf course, apparently. He's going for in the league. He reckons we'll be third at least. He reckons we're going to win the League Cup, semi-finalists of the FA Cup, and win the Europa League. And again, that's one for a bit of an accumulator on that one, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? You do well there. Right, so we'll head over to Woz. Right, Woz, League Cup, FA Cup, and Europa League. What do you reckon?
So all the cups, I'm going to not put myself on the line, and I'm going to say the way that Arteta, the breath of fresh air he's brought to the club, I don't fear anyone in a cup tie. And also, to be fair, I do fancy us over two legs in Europe as well. I just, on our day, he's proven it in the last few months alone that Arsenal can go toe-to-toe with any team in the Premier League. And I'll definitely extend that to Europe. So, for me, cup competitions, part of it's luck of the draw. I mean, in the League Cup, we've already got an initial tough game. But I go there with hope, whereas previously I would have almost written that game off immediately, an away draw to Leicester. So, yeah, I mean, I don't really fear anyone over 90 minutes. And I actually feel that Arteta's intelligence and his game management and everything he's bringing to the club will aid us in sort of any tie. So I'm fairly confident in the cup competitions. And as always in cups, though, a lot of it does come down to that 90 minutes. So anything can happen. We know that.
And indeed, how seriously we take the cups as well. I mean, the League Cup, obviously, I mean, he might put an under-23 team out against Leicester, but then again, Leicester might put an under-23 team out as well. So and again, it's tricky because depending on where we are towards the close of the season, there may be a time where he's going to, depending on our league position, might rest players for a league game, but then play them in Europa and vice versa. So it's very hard to predict. But come on, give us some stats, give us some hard ones.
Some hard ones.
Give us some hard ones.
We're going to win the Europa League.
Yeah.
luck of the draw in the FA Cup. I do think we will reach. I'm really hoping we get another trip to Wembley because we missed out. We've missed out on 3, haven't we, in the last season, which is gutting. And no matter how many times you go, it never gets boring. It never will, and it's always the holy grail of football for me. So hopefully we get to the semis. I think, like you said there, the Carabao Cup it's a difficult one. I don't expect us to progress that far, but we've got a much larger squad and a squad full of. He's growing a squad full of adults, so it gives me more confidence going into the games with the backup sides rather than having sort of 17, 18-year-old kids that are completely inexperienced. We've now got kids that are experienced, and we're building a solid with signings like Willian and things like that. We've got a solid squad here, and even with our defenders, even though they're young, they played football. So yeah, I think Carabao Cup we could go far, but I don't think that'll be the lowest priority. But every trophy is a trophy. Onto the league. As it stands at the moment, I'm a bit concerned. I will change drastically if we get through the window and we have brought in, for me, these 2 central midfielders that are vital. I'm a bit concerned that last season there was only 4 teams in the league that created less chances than us. That's a big issue, and realistically we haven't addressed that as of yet. Goals for midfield are frighteningly low. Between all of our current midfielders, you're looking under 50 goals combined for Arsenal Football Club, and that's everyone together with all their combined appearances. I mean, Xhaka in his whole career has got 12 at the club. Ceballos scored 2. Guendouzi's only ever scored 1. You can go through them all, to be fair. I think Joe Willock is probably up there. He's got 8. And then so all over that part of the pitch, we need extra goals and we need extra creativity. So that for me is key. That's really, really key. And if we're looking at getting, and please, I've tried to learn this in French, Hossam Oua, I believe that's how you say it. I don't know, but this guy is fantastic. He genuinely is a creative machine. He's a monster. He's getting better and better by the year. And it'd be nice to see if someone like Danny, who's back for the season, I just want to see him add that freedom to go into the final third, show that confidence, like his goal against Sheffield United, add that end product to his game. Whether he can do it or not, it'd be nice because he did show some he was solid in the games when we're on the back foot, class. But when we're like Villa away and things like that, when we're looking for someone to take the game by the scruff of the neck, I just feel we lack creativity and that goal scoring threat. And my other big issue is, I shouldn't even be saying this, and I touch every bit of wood near me, but if Aubameyang does get injured, the goals is such a big thing. I think Nico Pepe is going to step up massively this season, but to lose Aubameyang, I mean, Lacazette, he scored 8 away goals in his entire Premier League career for Arsenal. 12 goals last season, 10 in the league, 12 in all comps. Is Eddie going to step up and take the plunge at the moment? And then if not, you're looking at Saka, Nelson, and Willian. So it's that for me. The season really hinges on getting these 2 guys in, the dominant, aggressive midfielder to give us options, and then the creativity, and maybe get Mesut back in the mix. If we get the creativity, I'm very confident that we can surprise a lot of people, because the big games for me, I'm actually switched and I feel a little more comfortable. But it's the lesser teams that at the moment I'm concerned about.
We touched that on last week's pod with the fact that it's the games where the teams are doing to us what we've been doing to Liverpool, Man City, Chelsea.
Exactly.
It's how we break them down. It's how we deal with them going on the break. But with the squad as it stands at the moment, what you're predicting for a finish in the league?
My squad as it stands at the moment, I think we're going to be in a battle for the top 6, which sounds horrifically negative. I'm just concerned that we are an Aubameyang injury away, and with the Mesut Ozil situation, I don't know if he's going to play or not. And I just feel that there's a big burden of creativity there that is missing, and I do think it's literally one link player, or maybe someone like Ceballos could step up. I would feel a hell of a lot more confident, and it jumps for me from them slight additions, from talking sort of a bit negatively to really believing we can push top 3. So for me, it's sort of on a. I know it sounds you're either stupidly negative or stupidly positive, but I do think the creativity issue is huge.
Right, no, fair enough. I mean, that's how Chris sees it as well. Chris's message earlier, the squad how it is today He's gone for 4th in the Premier League. He generally thinks Arteta can get a tune out of so many of these players, and he don't think that United will be as good, or Spurs, Wolves either. But Chelsea, City, Liverpool better than us on paper. Yeah, I mean, yeah, can agree to that to a point. My thing with Chelsea really would be when they brought in so many big names, so many signings at the same time. It's how quickly they gel. He's also gone for FA Cup semi-finalists, Europa League final in the lap of the gods, on if we win based on what Champions League teams drop down, which is fair enough. Giles, which hopefully he'll be joining us and joining others next season a little bit more, which would be nice to hear from the fella. He's a very, very clever chap.
He's very clever.
He's for top 4, possible 3rd. In his opinion, Man United, Chelsea can be overtaken, and he's gone for semis in the Europa League, and we won't retain the FA Cup. And we'll do one more before we head on to Mike. We'll go to Ben. League, he's saying if we sign ooh-ah, ooh-ah, ooh-ah.
Ooh-ah.
What? Ooh-ah, 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 ooh-ah. That'd be a great song to get in. Ooh-ah, ooh-ah. Almost like the One Song. Anyway.
Sounds like me trying to sing any song.
But he reckons if we get in, we'll get 4th. Depends on Chelsea clicking. FA Cup quarter-final. Odds on Europa because 4th may be tight. He thinks we'll win the Europa. And the Carabao Cup, he reckons we're going to be out early. So we're going to you, Mike. What's your predictions for how we're going to get on?
I think that Arsenal will be the surprise of the season in the Premier League. And I think that only Arsenal fans seem to fully understand what level of coach that we have. I think, the big games, even though we've beaten the big teams, I think that's made people sit up and notice. But I think Arsenal will surprise everybody. I'm basing this on what our team will be post October transfer window, and I think we'll get Thomas Partey and Aouar. Did I say that? Aouar. I like Aouar. Maybe I'm going to sing your song, Aouar. I think we'll get these guys. I also have a sneaky feeling, I put it in the blog this morning, been ridiculed for it, but that's okay. But I've got a sneaky feeling Arsenal might have a look at Antoine Griezmann on loan, because if Lacazette goes out to raise money to buy the midfielders, which I think might happen, I think Griezmann, Barcelona are doing a fire sale, and they're getting rid of players for almost nothing, trying to get their wages off the books. His wages are huge, but I think we could take a loan like we have with Dani Ceballos, and I think he'd be the perfect link play. I think we're forcing Lacazette and Nketiah to do something that's not their natural game, and I think he would be perfect. But anyway, I digress. I think Arsenal will finish 2nd, and I think that based on the transfers that I think that we will make and the fact that we'll heal the issues that was, I don't want to go over them, but was talked about the issues which are most prevalent. He's dead on. We cannot even dream of that unless we get more goals in the team. And I'm basing this on the fact that I think we will have more goals in the team, and therefore the threat gets spread around the team. So therefore they won't be able to focus on Aubameyang quite as much, because I think second season Pepe, second season Ceballos, these guys will distract because there'll be more goal threat coming from different places. So I'm very hopeful if we get the signings. If we don't, I still think we'll do better, but as Woz says, the lack of goals, the injury, potential injury to Aubameyang, which would knock us, would see us tumbling. I still think we do better, maybe higher than his 6, but better. I also think that the 2nd place finish, I'm justifying that in my crazy head by the fact that he's won the FA Cup. And I don't know if anyone's talking about this, but when you win something, you see a coach win something early, they don't have the pressure to win a cup again. For example, Mourinho is probably getting some pressure to win anything at Tottenham. All those Tottenham managers get the pressure. Well, Arteta has no pressure on him anymore. He's won 2 trophies in 6 months, so he can focus more on getting in the Champions League, maybe competing for the league. So he doesn't have to be as concerned about the cups. I think we'll tumble out of the FA Cup in the quarterfinals. I think, having said all of that, I think we'll win the Carabao Cup. and win the Europa League. So I've sort of contradicted myself there, haven't I? But is that good?
No, like I say, it's very hard, and like I say, it's very hard to actually sort of not agree with literally everything that you two have both said, and indeed what the other lads have sort of sent me earlier to read out. I actually had this conversation with a few of my mates this morning with regards to centre forward goals. And like I say, with the fact that as we're going in it, hopefully with Martinez being fit, Lacazette, if we hold on to him, and Eddie, all three of them, I don't think we've got a 20-25 goal a season striker out of them. But I think that if they're both all used right and in the right games and the right time substitutions, I think we might get the 25 to 30 goals combined. Obviously, I'm talking not just league, I'm talking like combined games. So that's my worry, as well as the worry, obviously, of the fact that we're not getting enough goals from the midfield. But like I say, we'll see. Anyway, we'll go on to the last prediction was from Mr. Dave Seeger, who's going for fourth in the league, FA Cup later stages, but won't retain it, and Europa League winners, which, again, like I say, I would take anything. For myself, I think we're looking at, as we stand at the moment, we're looking at between third and fourth. We get the transfers we need. I think we've got enough to sneak third. I don't think we're going to do too well in the domestic cups. And I think, again, we might be bridesmaids when it comes to Europe. But we've just got that thing about us with Europe. We've been unlucky since, well, apart from two occasions throughout our history. So, yeah, so that's my prediction. Now, we're going to move on to the opening game of the season against Fulham. Fulham away generally is just a big piss up in London. I'm sure many people listening to this have been on boat parties and then gone to the ground, or boat parties and ended up watching it on the Thames in a pub, etc., etc. It's Fulham away is one of the good ones, depending on whether the tide's in your favour. So yeah, it's going to be an odd one. It's going to be strange, and we're all going to be probably sitting there either in a pub or at home watching it with our partners, or up to 5 mates, depending on how many children you have. What sort of lineup are you expecting him to go for, Mike? I know it's hard to double sort of guess Arteta, but what sort of lineup are you expecting to see on Saturday?
Okay, I'll go with what I expect to see. I expect to see Leno starting goal. That would disappoint me because I would feel awful for Martinez because he's done everything to keep that spot. But I expect Leno to start in goal. I expect a back three just to secure and start the season that way, because we don't have all the signings in to be more progressive yet. So I'm looking at Saliba starting with Holding centrally. Now David Luiz is allegedly injured, and Tierney as the third centre-back, like he's been doing admirably. Maitland-Niles then would be on the left as the left wing-back, and then the right wing-back, if the Bellerin potential transfer is advanced, then maybe it's Suarez for right now. But if not, then I'd imagine Bellerin will be there. The two midfielders would be Xhaka and Ceballos. I don't think anybody would argue with that. We don't have many options anyway, even though El Neni did well in the Community Shield. And then the three up front is difficult. It's difficult because Nketiah, Lacazette, I'd go with Nketiah because I've got a feeling that Lacazette may be off. He favoured him anyway. Pepe, probably to start this one with Aubameyang on the left. So Willian, I think, will start on the bench, but I think we'll see Willian start most games this season. But to start with, I think he's going to be on the bench. So I think that 3-4-3 is what we're looking at from Arteta. Yeah.
Okay, was
yes, mate.
Going on Mike's lineup, and like I say, it's highly likely that Kieran's going to start as sort of like the left-sided centre back. Since we're playing Fulham and not one of the bigger teams, would you be more inclined to go for sort of Saka as sort of in the left wing back role, do you think, or sort of play it how Mike said?
I personally would, yeah. I do like the left footer on the left side there, especially when we should be in control of games. I think the whole Maitland-Niles scenario at left wing back was to deal with the specific player he was playing against. It was a big part of cutting off them passing lanes, and I just think when we're going forward, I've got a feeling that Arteta might surprise a few. These friendlies have all been behind closed doors. You've not been able to watch them. He's been working on something clearly.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that he's been working on something, and we're going to come out again. Let's be realistic. It's not being negative or dismissive to Fulham, because they're going to be all guns blazing, first game back in the league this season. But we're the Arsenal, and we should be rocking up, and we should be putting in a performance, and we should be winning that game. And when you look last season, the games where we controlled possession and we lost, it happened too many times because we weren't creative enough. So I'm just wondering if the whole behind closed doors, no access, no visuals, nothing barring photos really of these friendlies is and especially the opposition he chose in them games, it might well have been gearing towards bringing out a little surprise out there, and maybe with Mesut back in the fold, there's a opportunity he might go back to 4-2-3-1 for this game. I don't know, but sorry to digress, but your original question, I do agree with. Yeah, probably I would. I mean, Kolasinac is still an Arsenal player. I know he's not in everyone's favour, but there's Kolasinac and Saka. I'm not sure why Saka left international duty early. I assume he's okay, but he left the under-21s. He didn't play in the second game, so hopefully he is okay. I'm pretty sure he trained today. So, but yeah, I'd like to see an Arsenal side turn up, control the ball, take control of the game, create chances, and win 9-0. Just make me happy again.
I think I think he's onto something there. I was being forgetful of those hidden friendlies. I think he might be onto something. The only thing I would question is, would that sneaky new formation look, whatever he was talking about, would that be more for the Liverpool and City games coming up than the Fulham one? But I could go with what Woz says. I could go that we do something like a 4-2-3-1 and maybe put Willian as the attacking midfielder and go attacking with Saka on the left and Maitland-Niles on the right. I'd love that personally. The team I gave was what I think Arteta will do. Yeah. But I'm listening to Woz and I'm thinking he's probably onto something.
Yeah, I mean, see, my thing is, if we went like more of a 4-2-3-1 or whatever you're saying there, or 4-2-1-3 or whatever it is, I mean, that work. I couldn't really particularly see the two sitting in front of the back four being Xhaka and Ceballos. I don't think Ceballos. I'd like to see him sort of more higher up on the pitch. I don't really see him as the sort of player that's going to cover the left or right back when they go bombing forwards. And I know quite often I hark back to Wenger's glory days when we had Keown and Adams and Petit and Vieira sitting in front of them, and they had that, the solid four block, and Petit and Vieira would quite often cover the left and right backs, etc. But I can't really see Ceballos filling that gap. Now, if we do go for the front three, obviously we're all saying that Aubameyang is going to start on the left, yeah?
Yeah, for right now, yeah.
We're all saying that it's very, very likely that Pepe gets, as one of you said earlier, the second year bounce. So, I mean, we're hoping for bigger figures for him next year, and I believe we will do down the left. And you're saying Eddie down the middle?
I think so.
He's got some good numbers for the England under-21s, hasn't he?
Yeah. Yeah.
I think with Eddie, I think what Eddie does give you is that explosive press, and that's something that Lacker's obviously a lot more comfortable dropping deep than Eddie, but Eddie he's on that shoulder constantly. He sniffs goals. Whether he's got the quality to perform for Arsenal week in, week out at this stage of his career, for me, I don't know. When I watch someone like Martinelli, I think, wow, this kid's ready. He's explosive. He's ready. But when I watch Eddie, I think there's potential there. There's great potential there. He does a lot of good things. But then just say like in the Community Shield, that chance is rolled back to him. He just snatches at it. And it's that kind of, that gets ironed out on loans for me. And I just think that it's a possibility that if Arsenal do business, we might see him leave on loan. But you never know. He could just flicker the switch, because it does happen with centre forwards. And once they get going, they get going. So he offers you something different. And I do think, depending on Fulham aren't going to be very ball dominant in reality. So he might go with Lacazette because he wants the security of the almost the creative role where he's dropping in. But I think I would prefer Eddie, but I don't know what he's going to do. It's nice. It's nice not to know.
Gav, there could be another little sneaky thing happen. I've seen this with Arsenal before when we've needed to raise money before the window's closed. Is certain players rock up when you don't think that they should necessarily be on the field, just to hopefully raise their profile, raise their transfer value, or hold their transfer value, so they're not sitting on the bench or not even in the squad. And we're trying to say, hey, we want 40 million for Lacazette. When they say, well, he's not even in your squad or he's not even getting game time, I'll give you 20. So that kind of stuff goes on. I think that's very real, but just a thought there.
Yeah, no, it's tricky. And like I say, you never know. I mean, obviously what you'd like to see at the beginning of every football season is the first choice 11, the 11 that the boss actually fancies to go through the whole of the season, and obviously rotate in and out where we can. But for me, I want to see what Arteta's been working on, been thinking on, and barring any ins, I want to see the players that he wants to keep starting.
Yeah. Gav, sorry to just interrupt, mate. I do think what was another killer. I know they got rid of it last season, but this whole transfer window, I know it's happening this year because of the scenario, but this window in future has to be shut before the ball's kicked because it's just not right. Clubs are in absolute turmoil. Some clubs will have a turnover of probably 3 or 4 players will come and go, and we're talking within 4 weeks. And in this year, you've got all the coronavirus stuff going on, players integrating into squads. It is just absolute mayhem. We could be sat here fielding a team at Fulham on Saturday, and 3 or 4 of them players could possibly leave the club, and it's not an exaggeration. It could happen before the start of October. So, and that might not be down to their lack of ability, or it could just be the way the market works. Players come up, opportunities awake. Mesut Ozil wasn't signed till right at the end of the window. No one had a sniff of it, and then out of nowhere, it just happened. So these deals happen very, very quickly, and Arteta will have these guys, and he will have people lined up. And if something does become available, we might end up sacrificing someone we don't want to or we don't expect to. But it just happens in football. So it's just really frustrating, isn't it, that it's not shut now like before we kick a ball. But I understand why. But
it's a weird one this year as well, because we haven't exactly got. There's not a lot of clubs that have actually got a lot of money. There's that to start with, and the other thing is, it's generally a case of this year, especially I feel with us, is look, we're literally going to need to sell to buy. We're definitely going to have to sell at least 2 of the overseas players because we've got too many for the squad. We can only register 17 and we've got 19, so 2 are going to go as well. That's with my thoughts on Bellerin. Really, it's the fact that it's not only the fact that we're getting rid of our first, second choice, whatever right back, no matter what way you want to look at him, but it's also the fact we're getting rid of a homegrown player. So really, it's sort of like the homegrown players that you really want to sort of try and keep and build the squad around. Really, this year.
It's the same with Emi Martinez, mate. It's the same with Emi Martinez. It's a big talking point there, because you're right about the homegrown scenario, and it's not one to be taken lightly, especially in that position as well. I mean, yes, it is an issue, the squad registration, like you said. So, but I've got a feeling a lot is going to happen. I mean, obviously, I know absolutely nothing about what goes on at Arsenal. It's going
to be late. It's going to be late. And the other thing, Mike, I'll pass this one over to you. I've got the feeling that it's almost going to be a sacrificial lamb to get the midfielders in. Like I say, I mean, apart from the obvious ones that have recently signed and we're trying to sign up, I mean, there's got to be quite a list of sacrificial lambs that the club are willing to sort of not want to go, but have to let go to afford the midfielders, the Uar and parties of this world. I mean, like I say, there's probably a big list you've got there, isn't there?
Yeah, I've got a list of at least 10 players I think that Arsenal could comfortably sign. The sacrificial lambs, I'm hoping it's not Martinez, but I can't see how both of those goalkeepers stay beyond January anyway, because they're both too good. That would make me upset, but I'd understand it. The Bellerin thing, I'm okay with, apart from the fact that I love him as a leader and as a person. I think he's He's got his ceiling's not as high as somebody like Maitland-Niles, so I would be okay with that sacrifice. And Lacazette, I would sacrifice of there, and Guendouzi. So you've got a potentially close to 100 million in those 4 or 5 players I've named. Right around 100 million that you could make. And that's not even talking about Holding and Socrates and Kolasinac and all these other guys that could be gone. There's actually something that's breaking on Twitter recently. I'm not sure if you boys jumped on just before the podcast, but interesting that Guendouzi is now apparently in talks with PSG again. They're back interested in him, and they're offering us Draxler, which is going to make everyone giggle because we've been linked with him over and over. And I will tell you, I was giggling with the rest of the Arsenal fans at the constant links with Draxler over the years, and it was a bit of a comedic thing. But I watched him play twice for Germany in the last week or so. He was really, really good. A whole lot better than I thought he was. I'm not saying he's a fantastic player, but if you want a ball carrier from midfield and a versatile player, hybrid player like Arteta, wants throughout the field, that guy can play 3 or 4 positions, and you could see top quality in him. Throughout the 90 minutes, he wasn't top quality throughout, but he did 2 or 3 things that were just amazing.
Mike,
so,
can I just quickly jump on Draxler? This kid, I know we linked for him for years. I really wanted him back in 2016. He got his move. He ended up going to PSG. Wrong move for his career at the time. He's obviously struggled to settle down there. But this honestly, if I could compare him to a stylistic footballer, it would for me be Robert Pires. The way the guy glides with the ball, he's 6'2". He's comfortable with both feet. He could easily play as a false 9 as well. He really, like you said, a hybrid player. People will look at his last few years and dismiss what he's done, and I completely understand it. But he's still only 26. He has so much ability, and like you said, he's playing in that German squad now. It's not to be shirked at. Yeah. He's not getting game time at PSG behind the likes of Neymar and Mbappe. So let's be realistic about it. The guy's no mug, and I just think he could be one of them players that is just looking for that one moment in his career where, because not every player goes to a club.
He feels at home. He's got to feel at home.
Exactly. And he looks to me like that kind of player that once he settles in, and he's still only 26, I would 100% take the risk on him because of, like you said, his versatility. He's comfortable on both wings. He just glides with the ball. He carries it well. He can score goals. I really do like him as a player, and I understand people's reservations from the way it's gone for him at PSG and stuff. But sometimes it ain't about what he's done at his previous club. It's about the potential and what you can unlock in a player. And if Arteta looks at him and thinks, do you know what? I know what he's got, and I can unlock that. Mate, I'd go.
Yeah. Arsenal have a history, Gav and Woz. They have a history of taking players that were really good and fell away because they maybe went to a bigger club and then didn't get to play and then came to Arsenal, or players that Arsenal just rise to the top. So we have a history of that. I mean, the Mesut Ozil one is just classic, isn't it? And I can see a player like Draxler, who's been frustrated for 3 or 4 years, making something quite special at Arsenal. So I think Arsenal fans need to just maybe watch some clips, watch his latest performances before you think that that's a comedy, because I really don't think it is. I'm with Woz.
I agree.
The only thing is, if you get him, you get Aouar, because they can both play in a 3-man midfield. So
get both.
Yeah, I mean, to go on for what you said there, Mike, and like I say, we're going to have to wrap this up in a second. Bergkamp, Henry, and Vieira all had bad moves before they came to ours.
Yeah.
Like I say, Vieira and Henry were like the top, the very, very top of the under-21 French. Both made bad moves, come to us. Bergkamp as well, dodgy move to Inter Milan. Stuart Pearce calling him a flop before he even come here. And the rest, as they say, is history. Right, we've got to wrap this up because we've done extra time, we've done Fergie time, and we've probably gone about 4 minutes over. So I do apologise, Chris. Thank you very much for joining this evening, Mike. Thank you very much for joining this evening, Woz.
Top man, go. Take care, Mike.
Yes, absolutely.
And people, hit the subscribe button and the like buttons and all that malarkey, because we're going to have plenty of content coming through the season. There's about 9 of us that are going to rotate round and do this. Hopefully, once, twice, 3 times a week now, depending on the games. Let's all have a good day Saturday, no matter what you're doing with 5 of your friends. and up the Arsenal.